record. Get started in just a moment. Sun shining. Hey. Okay. So I know I say this every day, but I'm really excited to talk about this today with you guys. We're talking about batching, and you might be surprised because we're not just going to talk about content batching. We're actually going to look at all the steps that I took to create more time, because we know that time is energy, and I've talked about that this week, but also the fact that you physically cannot create more of it, and time isn't even real. It is something that we measure using bots, but you can create more space, and it comes down to a few different factors. And I'm going to dive into all of that today, and I'm going to share with you how I started to batch my time and my tasks and my content. I've created a little cheat sheet for you as well, so I'll make sure you guys get that. The cheat sheet literally takes you through all of the things that basically I did, and how I would encourage you to kind of approach this process so that you can start to create more time, become more productive, and create more of a sustainable business on your own terms using these kind of time management and productivity skills. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. Hello, happy Friday. It's the last day. I can't believe it's already finished. And I sent out an email bright and early this morning letting you know that you have the opportunity to stick with us beyond Sunday. So the challenge finishes, this is the last day of the challenge. You have until Sunday to kind of gather all the bits and pieces inside of the group. You will, of course, have the replays to keep because I've sent them to you via email along with all the worksheets. But if you want to carry on with us beyond Sunday into April and beyond, I've extended the invitation to you to stick with us inside of the membership. And I'm really excited because this membership, I've talked about this before, but the membership started out as kind of this idea, somewhere I wanted that women could come to and get access to those resources that they need, not just from me as a content strategist, but also other areas of the online business. And so we've, over the last, I guess it's been 6 months now, over the last 6-7 months, we have kind of created this community and resource library of different areas of business, and it's constantly growing. Every month it grows. We have experts come in, teaching me things too, because I don't think that I know I don't know everything. And so my goal is to help you with your content strategy, but I bring in other business owners, other experts, people who I trust, people who I've worked with, people who I follow, and I've seen their work in action, and they come in and they share their goodness with you. And it's so cool because one of the really confusing things about online business is how we end up kind of seeking information from so many different places, and we can find ourselves, subscribing to every email and joining every webinar, and it can be really complicated it can be really hard to find one place where you can get that information. So I have created that place, and that was, as I said, it was just this like little idea back at the end of last summer, and it has just kind of taken on this amazing vibe, and it's this incredible place. And I would love for you to stick with us beyond Sunday. And what you receive from me is ongoing coaching. So not only will I help you continue to refine your content strategy, refine your marketing strategy, help you identify which tasks are the ones that you can be focusing on to drive profit and sustainability to your business, but also giving you back time and freedom, because there are so many tasks that we do that either we don't enjoy, or they're things that don't actually bring us profit or subscribers or engagement, and we do them because maybe someone has told us we should, and we get caught in this spiral. And I know that because I've been there so often. So we focus on creating this kind of feel-good content strategy, something that allows you, your time, your energy, your business, your lifestyle to thrive, so that you can then get back to what you do best. So I help you through all of that. And then, as I said, you have access to all of these extra resources from other experts within the industry. We have Pinterest, podcasting, Instagram masterclasses, law of attraction, branding, copywriting. We have so many things, and we have 3 or 4 new masterclasses coming in the next 90 days that I'm constantly looking and recording those so that you can get like up to date and really great resources. And not only that, you get coaching from me every single month. So we have open office hours, monthly hot seat calls. We have our planning parties. So we have those every month. So every month you can pop into the open office hours. Anything that's on your mind in and around business at that point, you can just pop in on Zoom like this, and we talk it through, we troubleshoot it. You can apply for a hot seat call. The hot seat calls are where you get 30 minutes of coaching. We did those last night. It was so much fun. We have Melissa and Mary in the hot seats, and that happens every month. And you can apply for a hot seat and you get 30 minutes of coaching unique for your business. And then, as I said, we also have our planning parties, which is where we kind of start that 5-day process to kind of get into the habit of auditing, planning, creating, and batching your content. So we have the planning party every month. We come on together, you bring coffee, wine, I don't care, whatever time zone you're in, you bring that with you. It's really casual, but it's really fun. And we also just kind of troubleshoot and kind of mastermind with each other. It's really, really great place. And you can stick around for half price. I'm offering this price until Sunday. The price goes away and I'll close the doors on Sunday at midnight, or it's Monday morning here. But yeah, I want you to stick around because it's going to be so much fun, and we have so much fun working on this content together and building out these strategies for your business. And I'm so excited as I get to watch the ladies who are already inside the lounge building this out for themselves. It's so much fun. So yeah, you are invited. You may stick around. I will remind you in case you want to and you forget. But yeah, that's what I wanted to let you know before we dive into today's content. And as I said, we're going to be talking all about batching. So if you have any questions as we go through, just pop them in the chat box and I will try not to interrupt myself because I do tend to go off at a tangent, and I'll try and answer any questions at the end. But so we're talking about batching. And batching, I feel I shared with you a little bit of a story today inside the group and in via email, and that is the first time I ever heard about content batching was listening to Amy Porterfield's podcast. She was talking specifically about batching her podcast episodes, and this was maybe a couple of years ago now, and she was talking about how she batched 6 months or so in advance, and I was like, wow, this sounds incredible. It sounds exactly what I need. It also sounds kind of overwhelming. And how the heck do you just start this? And that's actually been one of the most common questions that I get about content batching and about batching in general is when you're already in the throes of business, if you didn't start batching from the very beginning, how do you start now? How do you start batching your content when you're already doing all the things? You're already creating your social media posts and writing these blogs and these emails and coaching and showing up live and all these different things that you're doing. And you're also wanting to, spend time with your family and take some downtime and maybe go to the gym, go for a walk, plan a wedding. So you're trying to do all these things. How do you do all of those and try and figure out batching? And when I decided to go ahead and try and figure it out, it was at the beginning of 2018. I keep forgetting what year we're in. It was the beginning of 2018. I had made the commitment that I was going to leave the gym. I had in my notice in, I had 4 weeks to basically figure this out. And the reason I gave myself a deadline was because, first of all, I know that if we don't give ourselves deadlines with these things, they kind of just don't happen. But I also knew that I wanted to figure it out because we were taking my son out of nursery for another day. So I only had 3 days, and before that I had 5 days. Plus I was working mornings, evenings, weekends. I was literally working every moment of all the time, and I was miserable doing it because that wasn't what I'd seen, the vision I had for my business. It wasn't the vision I had for my business or my lifestyle. So I made these small commitments to myself, and I made it a priority to figure out batching. Both initially it was content batching, but what ended up happening was so much more, and that's what I want to walk you through today. So the first thing I did, excuse me, of course I get a frog in my throat. The first thing I did was I audited my time. So I looked at the schedule as it was then. I looked at how many hours I was working on average when I was trying to add other things in. So maybe I was trying to go to the gym or I wanted to eat. I was looking at the whole picture because it's super easy. We could easily go into our planner and be like, oh, I have 10 hours to work today. But that's not realistic because you have to eat, you have to get ready, you might want to go for a walk, you might want to read a book, you might listen to a podcast, you need to take a break. So we don't have like these full like 10-hour blocks to work, and nor should you. Like it's not actually productive to sit down and try and work these long periods of time. So the first thing I did was audit my time. I looked at my week. I looked at each day separately. I looked at where was my time going? What was I doing? Because it was so easy for me to get to a Friday and for my husband to be like, how was your day? Or how was your week? And I'd be like, yeah, I don't know what I did. Like it was really confusing because I was busy, but I seemed to be busy doing nothing. I wasn't really doing a whole lot. And I felt like I was just kind of dabbling in all these different things and no one thing was working because I wasn't giving it enough attention, and I was constantly switching between one task and another, and it was just very overwhelming. And I realized that this was one of the main problems, was that my time was being pulled in all different directions, but that was because I was allowing it to be. So I audited my time. I looked at when I actually had time available. And I made a set of priorities, a set of, I guess, goals. But it was really, for me, it was more about being consistent. It's like, what things outside of my business matter to me? And I came up with like a very, it was kind of millions of things, but I kind of narrowed it down to a few things that were really important to me and my business and my lifestyle, and little habits that I could create that would allow me to create boundaries with my time, with my business, with my relationships, and with my clients as well. Because I knew at that point, I realized that even if 2 new clients had suddenly been like, hey, I want to work with you, I would have freaked out inside, because I would have been like, where am I going to put you? What am I going to do? Everything else is going to fall apart because I am so busy doing nothing, but busy inside of my business that I had no time to work on my business. I had no time to market myself, to show up. And it was so easy to fall into that spiral of not going to the gym, missing out on a meal, not doing that walk, not doing a Facebook Live, like just getting caught up in like that busy work and not doing those things. So I audited my time, I identified where I could create boundaries, and I also started to look at, and this is something I really want you guys to do, and it's in the little cheat sheet, so you will get a copy of it, but this was something else I did at the same time, which was look at my haves, my needs, and my wants. And some of you may have heard me talk about this before, but it was such a profound moment. And I don't do it all the time, but I do it every 6 months, especially at the end of the year. And usually when it gets towards the summer, I feel like doing it twice a year works really well for me. But I look at my have, need, and want list. And the have, need, and want list is basically writing a list of 3 things that you have to do every day, 3 things that you want to do every day, and 3 things that you need, 3 things that you have to do, 3 things you need to do. Yeah, 3 things. Sorry, I think I got that wrong. 3 things that you have to do every day, 3 things that you need to do every day, and 3 things that you want to do this year. There we go. Right. That's the correct version of that. I don't know what I said to start with. So really you're looking at the things you have to do, the things you need to do, but the things you want to do as well. And the reason this was so profound for me was like, this is what I want my life to look like. This is what I want my business to look like. This is how I want to feel. This is what success feels like when I think about it. This is how excited I get. But this isn't what's happening. What am I doing? What do I have to do? What do I need to do? And do those things match? Do they align? Excuse me, of course, throat in my throat. Hang on a second. Do those things align? Are the things that I have to do and need to do, are they aligned with what I want to do? And this was really profound because it was really obvious to me that things I had to do were very much around my family, they were around looking after myself. The things that I needed to do were things that, again, were around my health and my family, and the things that I wanted to do were very much around my business and my family, and it was trying to connect those things and making sure that the way I was treating my business and the way I was treating my time was more aligned with what I wanted to do. So I really encourage you to write down those 3 lists. It's a great little journaling exercise as well. So if you do journal, it's a great journaling exercise. And don't worry if you haven't made a note of it, because it's in the cheat sheet, so you will get a copy of it. So that was one of the things I did at the same time. So I audited my time, I looked at creating boundaries, and I created a have need want list. And I started to look at this and I was like, okay, this has to change, because I'm working all these hours, I have no space for clients, and my energy was really off. So every single time I would go to launch a product, launch a program or a service, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I'd like 10 new clients, but where am I going to work with you? When am I going to have time? And really understanding that our time is energy. And so when we constantly say we don't have time, when we're constantly walking around saying, I'm so busy, I don't have time, I can't do this, then we project that and we literally don't find the time. We don't see it. It's right there in front of us. And when I worked with clients, both in my fat loss coaching and in business coaching with this time audit, it's amazing and incredible how much time we can actually find, because it's really about prioritizing the tasks within our business that actually provide us with sustainability. And by that, it doesn't just mean profit, but the engagement, the subscribers, things that we feel good about doing, the way in which we feel good showing up in our business. And so being able to identify which of those tasks are worth keeping and which of those tasks you need to say goodbye to, or at least temporarily, is really, really important. And one of the things I always ask myself when I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed by my tasks or my projects in my business is, if I could only work for 1 hour today or 1 hour this week, what would I focus on? And that kind of just brings me back to, okay, what is most important and most urgent, right? What is going to get me in front of the most people? What is going to provide the most visibility? What's going to actually excite me as well? And when you ask yourself that question, it's really easy to identify, okay, all this shit needs to go. And it's really easy to kind of say no to those things and focus on the things that are going to keep you feeling really great about your business. So identifying the tasks that you love and the tasks that you want to keep working on, and just letting some of the other ones go. Put them down gently. You don't need to throw them away, but put them down gently, move them to one side, and maybe come back to them once you've started to identify how you can use these tasks in your business without maybe feeling overwhelmed. Now, one of the really common things that can happen when it comes to batching is that we can kind of get into, which we all have done in one way or another in our lives, but that all or nothing mindset. So we can often be kind of posting in real time. We're sitting there on the sofa at 8 o'clock with a glass of wine, and we're trying to figure out something really smart and witty or, catchy to say to our audience on social media. And we can't think of anything. So either we just put something up or we don't post at all. And that comes down to the planning that we've talked about this week. But one of the things that I did, right? This is one of those mistakes that I made, because I'm definitely an all or nothing person. I was like, right, I'm going to take my tasks and I am going to my social media. I'm going to take it from posting in real time. I'm going to post just once a month. Like, it's all going to be batched in 1 month. And it didn't work like that. It didn't work like that at all. I had to take it slowly because I was so overwhelmed and so in this kind of chaotic spiral of posting in real time and not really having any time to do anything and feeling frustrated by my social media and all these different things, that I wasn't able to kind of step back and go from posting in real time to posting once a month. So if your time is being pulled in different directions, for those of you who have in-person clients or teaching classes, maybe have brick and mortar businesses as well as online businesses, where your time is being pulled in lots of different places and directions, I recommend starting by taking your daily tasks and trying to batch them weekly, and then taking your weekly tasks and eventually batching them monthly. And I recommend that you go from daily to weekly and kind of keep practicing it between 1 and 3 months. So if after like 1 month you feel really confident that it's working and it's fine and you're actually like, this isn't hard, then, go to batching monthly. But just be aware of the fact that it depends on your relationship with time. We all have different relationships with time. And so if your relationship with time means that you constantly feel like there isn't enough of it, then it can be very, excuse me, it can be very easy to kind of fall into that all or nothing, and then find it very hard to transition from like daily to monthly. So that's my recommendation, is go from daily to weekly, weekly to monthly. And to do that, I suggest that you look at all the tasks that you're doing. So when you audit your time and you can see where all of your time is going in your business, identifying which of those tasks that you need to do daily, and which tasks actually you could do weekly, and which tasks you could do once a month. And the goal is to, as I said, take them from daily to weekly to monthly. And there's going to be some tasks that you do just, you have to do in real time. But the great thing about this is once you get those other tasks batched and you start to batch them weekly, monthly, you're able to spend a bit more time and a bit more intentionality on those daily tasks. So whether that's Instagram engagement or Facebook group engagement or Facebook lives or Instagram stories or pinning on Pinterest, these are some of the things that I have found in my business that I'm doing on a daily basis, and they kind of require me to do them on a daily basis, but I have more time to do them, and I'm able to be more intentional about it and actually really enjoy them because I'm not thinking about that blog, that social media post. So I really recommend doing that as well, looking at those tasks and figuring out which ones you do have to do daily and which ones you don't. And then what I started to do was batch my content. And this is where a lot of this week's information has come from, because when I reflected on that process of going from being overwhelmed, my time being pulled in all different directions and not knowing what to do first, I realized that I didn't just start batching my content, but it was actually about batching different areas of my business, my time, my tasks, and my content. And because I took those steps to work on my schedule and create a schedule that worked for me and figure out where my time was going, I was able to then start batching my content. And so this week we have talked about kind of the nuts and bolts of how to start doing that. On Monday, we talked about auditing your social media, your emails. The reason being is because we can then measure those things beyond just measuring our financial goals, looking at our income. We're actually able to measure other metrics and actually able to see that the energy we're putting into our business is working and that the things we're doing are helping to grow our businesses. So that's one of the reasons why we audit. And it's also so that we can see if it's working, then keep doing it. If it's not working, then what can we tweak? Or maybe there's some other factor as to why it wasn't working that month, or maybe over that 90-day period. And then once we have that in place, we're able to start planning. And that's one of the reasons why I highly, highly recommend doing that brain dump of content themes that we talked about earlier in the week. Because when we brain dump content and we're able to create this kind of unlimited list, constantly growing, because you'll constantly find things like, oh, I talk about that, oh, I don't talk about that, and I don't like that, and this is why. We're able to create we're able to create a content list that gives us all of those pieces that we need to fit in to our editorial calendar over the year. So you're able to now look at that and say, okay, well, this is what I talk about. And you can see where there's overlap, and it's okay, because often when you have a business where you've been running your business for a period of time, we often find that there is overlap between our content. And as your business kind of continues, you will find that there are seasons where you are talking about the same thing, and that's okay. No one knows that you're talking about the same thing. And really, there's no reason you can't say it more than once, because most people need to hear it more than once. So it's totally fine. So having that content base, being able to just come to that constantly and be like, right, this is what I'm talking about. It also just reminds you in case you forget, right? You might forget that there's this one thing that you love to talk about. Maybe you forget that that is related to your program or whatever it might be, but you have that kind of base to come back to, and you can add to it as you go through the year and through your business. So it's really, really crucial to do that back end work so that you can then confidently create that content strategy. And that being, then starting to create your content and actually batch it. And so with your content creation, we talked about doing that long form content first, pulling out those social media themes and then starting to create the images. If you didn't see yesterday's tutorial, make sure you go back and watch it. It was really fun. I do have something that I figured out this afternoon as well. I was finishing off my images and I was like, ooh, I didn't know you could do this. So remind me to share that with you. But then you can start to look at your images, and we talked a lot about that yesterday. So that is the process that I took. That's kind of what happened for me, and that's what I would encourage you to do, and I encourage my clients to do, is get really clear on your time. Get really clear on your schedule. When it comes to creating a schedule, I don't like the idea of telling you what to do. I don't like the idea of that anyway. But I don't like the idea of saying to you, this is the schedule that I use, so therefore you should use it. And one of the reasons being is because I changed my schedule when Grayson started school. So most of last year, I'm trying to think, last year, I was working on an alternate week schedule. And an alternate week schedule for me basically looked like 1 week of batching, 1 week of coaching, 1 week of batching, 1 week of coaching. That was how I alternated it. So what that meant was I did all my coaching calls, all of my discovery calls, strategy calls. I had just 1 week, 2 weeks every month where I did that. And the reason I did it that way was because I knew that I could then just give all of that my attention. So when I did market research last year and I was taking market research calls, I only had 2 weeks that month where I did it. So there was a week in between, a space. And honestly, it worked fine. There was a little bit of fear at the beginning because it's like, oh, people might want to have availability to me all the time. But that was one of the things I did because I knew that deep down, nobody was going to care, and it's my business. So when it comes to your business, creating those boundaries around your time, around your schedule is so, so critical, because we're able to then take that time, and you have to find a schedule that works for you. So at the time I did an alternate week schedule. It was, as I said, batching 1 week. So that was where I was just focused on content creation, batching it and getting it all ready. And then I would focus on coaching. And that was all I had to do that week. It was all I did. I didn't focus on whether I was going to write a social media post. And if I had a quiet week where maybe I didn't have strategy calls or discovery calls booked in, I would do other things that would give me energy and make me feel really, really positive. Maybe I'd record some videos. Maybe I would study for something. I'd read a book. I'd get outside. I would do whatever it was. So your freedom week, that's what I used to call it. I used to call it my freedom week because I was free of content. I was free of batching. I wasn't doing those things. And now my business looks different and my time looks different because I work less hours with Grayson being in school. So now I typically work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with clients, and Mondays and Fridays typically are days where I'm kind of preparing my week, finishing my week, and I will do my content during those times. So, and I give myself 1 week a month where I do all of my content batching. But again, I said at the beginning of this week, and I want to reiterate it today, is that your content strategy does not need to look like mine. Your schedule does not need to look like mine. This is a conversation that has come up a couple of times inside the Business Lounge. And our businesses, our lifestyles, our values, our versions of success look different. And so I want you to just be really clear on that, really identify what you want your content strategy to look like for you, what you want it to do for you and your business, and how you want it to grow. And if that means working alternate weeks, if that means working 3 days a week, whatever is fine, but just finding something that works for you. Because when we try to force our business into this little box, and it's really hard and it feels uncomfortable and we don't like it and we feel like there's too much pressure to conform, we either rebel or we end up coming out the other side really resentful and burnt out. So instead of trying to make it look like someone else's, figure out what works for you. Test it. So much of our online business is a test. So much of it is just figuring out whether something works or doesn't work. It doesn't hold our self-worth. It doesn't hold our value. It is testing. It's just looking to see, oh, did this image work on Instagram? Did this hashtag work? Did this caption work? And just being able to measure it allows us to look at it objectively, but it doesn't mean anything beyond that it is data. It's just testing those things out. And when it does come to testing things out, what I would recommend, and I mentioned this in the cheat sheet as well, is testing things out for at least 30 days, ideally 90 days. But I think we become very impatient. We we want to do one webinar and get results and see if it works then and there, where we really need to test things out for longer because we need to collect enough data. And so testing things out for longer in our business, working towards that one strategy that we set out for the year, allows us to understand, okay, well, this worked, this didn't, and this is maybe why. So there needs to be that planning so that we can understand, okay, well, this is my strategy, this is the long overall aim for my business, and these are the tactics that I'm going to use. Imagine it's like a bridge. You're starting, we'll pretend it's January. So, you're on one side of the bridge and you can see the other end in front of you, and that's December or the end of the year. And along the bridge, you're going to have lots of like support beams, right? Well, those are your tactics, because to get you from this side of the bridge to the other side of the bridge, you have to walk past all of those. And so that's how, I don't know, I probably butchered that analogy. It's much better when I have a visual of a bridge. But to get yourself from one side of the bridge to the other, you need to walk past. You need to go through all of those. You need to go past all those supports. You need to use those tactics. And so I like to think of it as a strategy being that overall thing for the year, and then your tactics being the things that you test, whether you test them monthly, whether you test them quarterly, whether you end up testing them for 6 months because they work and then they stop working. And that's really, that allows you to learn from your own data and learn from your own audience, because one of the really common marketing things I'm seeing at the moment in online, on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, is that things aren't working. These challenges are down, webinars are down. And that's true, but I mean, if somebody can say to you that webinar numbers are down, but I guess if they speak to Amy Porterfield, they'd probably find they're not. Or you have to just adjust where you are and understand your audience. And I know that you guys know your audience. The odds are you know what kind of schedules they keep and what kind of time they are and what kind of content they prefer. Like, how do they prefer you to show up, whether it's a challenge or a masterclass or a webinar. But being able to test those things out really helps you to understand that data. And as I said, it allows you to kind of either keep going or adjust. But when we don't measure it, we have no idea. So I did say that I wanted to show you something that I just discovered. It's probably not as exciting for you as it is for me. I was just like, oh, this is amazing. I'm going to share this with them. So I'm going to share my screen. So I was doing my Canva images. This is like a spoiler alert. You'll see my Instagram feed before it goes out. So one of the things I just did was I had a picture in the wrong place. I don't know. But what I found is that you can drag and drop these pictures. So you can just move them about. I was like, that's really cool. That's a great little time saver. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you as an added little thing, because I just found it and I was like, these ladies are going to love it because the tutorial went so well. So that's it from me. I am going to make sure that you guys get the cheat sheet for today's masterclass or today's session. I'll put it up in the Facebook group. What I will do, I had problems uploading to YouTube yesterday, so I'll make sure that you get both of today and yesterday's replays. You'll get those in your inbox, do not worry. And I'll also send this this cheat sheet to you by email as well. So you'll get two sessions plus the cheat sheet into your inbox, so don't worry. But it will be in the group as well, so you can always download it from there. But I hope you have had an amazing week. I have absolutely loved coming on live, teaching and sharing this information. I always love talking about batching. It's kind of scary how much I can geek out over it. And I really love being able to connect with everybody and speak to everyone and kind of find out what your aim is with regards to content strategy. As I said, I would love for you to stick around. The Wonder Woman Business Lounge is such a great place. I know I'm biased, but it is such a great place because we have created a community where you can come and get those answers without having to sign up for 50 different webinars, without having to kind of download 25 new PDFs. Like, you have enough stuff to do in your business. And that was really where it was born. It's like, these women have enough shit to do already. They don't need to feel the pressure to sign up to 12 million different things in 1 week and then find then they don't have the time. Then they physically don't have the hours. And it can also be incredibly overwhelming when a lot of what you're seeing online is kind of rule-based. And it's like, you must be doing this. And I'm kind of over it because as far as I'm concerned, if business doesn't feel good, what the hell is the point? Because if it doesn't feel good for us and it's not creating, we didn't For most of us, we created these businesses so that we could have the time, the freedom to take time off, the freedom to, work when we want to work with the clients we want to work with, the time to do things that we love, whether it's travel, sit in Starbucks, walk the aisles of Target, or I don't know, wherever I'd walk the aisles here. I don't know where I'd walk the aisles off here in the UK. But being able to do those things, take time off and have that space, but be able to close your laptop and know that your business is going to take care of itself. And that's one of the things I have loved Lounge, is not just the content strategy, but knowing which tasks to focus on so that you can create some sustainability and then get leads on autopilot. And that's such a huge thing, because there is a good chance that part of your business massively can work on autopilot, but constantly being in our businesses is kind of what leads to the overwhelm. So when we can be in our business for a shorter period of time, whether that's a period of time per week, every 2 weeks, per month, whatever works for you, we're able to work on our business. We're able to create the time and the freedom to work with more clients, to network, to go traveling, whatever it might be. We're able to create that time, and we're not constantly glued to our phone and our laptop. So I would love for you to stick around. All of the details are in the email. As I said, you get half off. I'm giving you 50% off for the first month. So basically you're going to get April for 50% off. And then after that, it's $49 a month. But you can cancel at any time. You can cancel at any time. I'm not in the business of making things super difficult. So yeah, I would love to have you there. If you have any questions about the membership or anything that we've done this week, if you have any questions or just anything around what we've been doing, let me know. Tag me in the group. Send me an email. I'm going to be kind of on my phone intermittently this weekend, and I would happily answer any of your questions. So yeah, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you to those of you watching the replay. I've had a blast, and I hope you have too, and I will see you very, very soon.